Welcome to What is Truth, brought to you by the Southern New Mexico Church of God in Las Cruces, New Mexico. What is Truth is a weekly program which seeks to focus our attention on the truth of God's Word. Now, with this week's lesson, here's Pastor Meyer Stahl.
Welcome to the program. I'm Meyer Stahl, the pastor of the Southern New Mexico Church of God, bringing you the program, What is Truth? Now, we're going to do part 2 of, we'll show it on the screen here, is there going to be a World War III? And will it be coming soon? And this is part 2. Just in case you missed part 1 last week, you could call us. We would be happy to send you a DVD of part 1 for free, no charge. Now, I wrote this book, World War III Coming Soon. And this program is coming out of the book. So we're going to explain you the first phase. There are 3 phases of World War III. 3 giant, great battles that are going to take place. Now, you could also visit our YouTube channel to get part 1 if you'd like. And we'll have part 2 on there by next week. So, before we get started, we're going to offer you 2 free booklets. The first is God's Holy Days. When I mention God's Holy Days to people, they say, oh, you mean the Jewish Holy Days? I says, no, I mean God's Holy Days. Read this booklet. Check it out in your Bible. You may be surprised what the wise writer of Proverbs said. He who answers a matter before he hears it, it is folly and shame unto him. You shouldn't answer a matter before you look at it. The second is, what do you mean salvation? Do you realize not 1 in 100 knows what it is, how to get it, how you receive it? Don't be too sure you do. Here, once and for all, is the truth made so plain you will really understand it. So these 2 booklets are free. All you have to do is call us at the number on the screen, 575-650-7359. Now, we're going to start in Daniel chapter 2. So Daniel chapter 2, we're going to look at verse 1. Daniel chapter 2 in verse 1. And it says here, and in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep broke from him. And then the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. And the result of it was, we'll stop here. The result of it was the king demanded that they tell him the dream besides interpreting it. Well, could you tell me what I dreamed last night? Could I tell you what you dreamed last night? And they couldn't do it. And he threatened to kill them all. And Daniel comes on the scene, and we're going to drop down to verse 14. Well, verse 13, we'll start there. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain. And they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guards, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. And he answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, that he would show the king the interpretation and also the dream. So Daniel went to his 3 friends, and they all prayed about it, and they all asked God to reveal it to them. And it says, verse 19, then the secret was revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. And Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his, and he changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them who know understanding. So God revealed the dream to Daniel. Now Daniel comes back before King Nebuchadnezzar, and he tells King Nebuchadnezzar the dream. And he says, right here, he says, as for you, verse 29, O king, your thoughts came into your mind upon your bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he reveals secrets made known to you, what shall come to pass. So this is prophecy that's going to happen. And Daniel is explaining the king what the king saw. And he says, verse 31, you, O king, saw and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before you, and the form thereof was terrible. The image's head was of fine gold, and his breast and arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. And you saw till the stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and broke them to pieces. So this statue is all destroyed now. And this would be a hard thing to understand. We're stopping here. This would be a hard thing to understand, except God revealed it to Daniel. And here's what he revealed. And he says, verse 36, this is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. You, O king, are king of kings, for the God of heaven has given you a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. Notice this. God has given it to him. He hasn't taken it himself. God gave it to him. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field, the fowls of heaven, has he given into your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are this head of gold. So the head of gold represented the Babylonian kingdom. Now let me explain something to you. The Babylonian kingdom lasted from 604 BC to 538 BC. Okay? So that ended. Now, as he said, verse 39, and after you shall arise another kingdom. We're looking at it now. We're reading the Bible. And after you shall arise another kingdom inferior to you, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall rule over all the earth. And this third kingdom of brass was the Greek kingdom of Alexander the Great. First was the arms of silver were the Medes and Persians. 2 arms and the chest of silver were the Medes and Persians, and they ruled from 538 BC to 331 BC, about 200 years. And the third kingdom of brass was Alexander the Great in 331 BC, and the Greek domination lasted until 168 BC. This is important that you understand this. God is changing around the kingdoms. God is giving the kingdoms, to world-ruling kingdoms, to other people. Now the fourth kingdom, let's read it. The fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. This was the Roman kingdom. This was Rome. For as much as iron breaks in pieces and subdues all things, and as iron breaks all things, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas you saw the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Well, the Roman kingdom was divided, and Rome fell, and then the kingdom was changed to Constantinople. So he had 2 legs, one leg in Rome and the second leg in Constantinople. Now the Roman kingdom lasted from 168 BC to 477 AD. And this is the longest world ruling kingdom was the Roman kingdom. Rome ruled the world. And now we come to the toes of the feet. There are 10 toes to the feet, part of iron and part of clay. So the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Now we'll stop here for a moment. There are 10 toes representing 10 nations. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. Right here in the book of Daniel, let's look here, verse 44. And in the days of these kings, what kings? The 10 kings represented by the 10 toes, shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. That's going to be the kingdom of God. It's going to be Jesus Christ coming back and setting up his kingdom, and it shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Now we're stopping there. This is Jesus Christ coming back to rule to start out with for 1,000 years. This is the millennium. This is not taught in many churches. Do not teach the millennium, the 1,000 years that the Messiah is going to rule with the saints on this earth. Now, we're going to go a little bit further. We're going to explain as we go so you can understand. Now, we're going to we're going to have a short break. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Hey, don't touch that dial, because you're watching the only independent TV station here in Las Cruces, the Las Cruces channel. Keep watching.
Call Mark Goldstein, the Safe Money Guy, at 575-556-2472 to learn about innovative strategies now available to help you grow, protect, and preserve your money and financial future, regardless of market conditions.
There you go.
So great. You do all these different gears to the plan.
Okay.
Nice.
Guys, not all.
Welcome back to the program. Now, in case you've tuned in late, you can watch us on the YouTube channel. You can watch part 1 that we did last week, and you could also watch part 2. So you can, anything you miss, you can watch. Now, we spent a lot of time in Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2 is a key, an important key to opening up our minds to the book of Revelation. So Daniel chapter 2 tells about all of the kingdoms, world-ruling kingdoms, that God is in charge of. God is the one that sets up kings and rulers. Now, we're going now to Daniel chapter 11, and Daniel's going to tell us what's going to happen at the time of the end. That's end time prophecy. It hasn't happened yet, but it will happen very soon. So let's go to Daniel chapter 11 and verse 40. And before we go there, I just want to mention that I will be on Facebook. Just go to Facebook, Meyer, Stahl, Saturday at 1 o'clock for a live show, an interactive Bible study that you could take part in. Now, you could reply with any questions that you have on our Facebook channel. So just go to Facebook, type in Meyer Stahl, and it will be this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. And every Saturday, we'll be doing an interactive Bible study that you are invited to. So please come on and enjoy. And we'll be sure to give you some really helpful information. Okay, so now we're in Daniel chapter 11 and verse 40. And let's turn there now. And at the time of the end, do you see that? That's end time prophecy right here. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him. At who? That's the king of the north. The king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, with horsemen, and with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom. Edom is an ancient name for the country of Turkey. The Turkish people are Edomites. And Moab and the children of Ammon. And these are the Jordanians. These are all Muslim people. And he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. That's another Muslim country, the land of Egypt. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver and of all the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians, also Muslims, shall be at his steps. Now let's stop there for a moment. This is an invasion of the Muslims coming up against the Europeans. Now the Europeans, there's 10 countries represented by the 10 toes of Daniel's dream. The Daniel statue had 10 toes. So there's 10 nations coming against about 10 nations of the Muslim nations. Now, there are 8 crusades took place in the Middle Ages. It's something that we don't learn in history. There's very little that's known about these crusades, but you could Google them, and you could learn about the crusades that took place. There was 8 of them. Now, there's the 9th crusade is yet to take place. It will take place very soon. So during these crusades, the Europeans would come down against they call them Saracens or Mohammedans. Now they call them other names. So here is the Muslims people would win the battle. They would take Jerusalem as a prize. When the European nations came down and they won the battles, they would also get Jerusalem as a prize. So Jerusalem went back and forth to the king of the south, to the king of the north. When Alexander the Great died, his kingdom was transferred to 4 generals. And the 4 generals were the king of the north, the king of the south, the king of the east, the king of the west. Those 4 generals became 2. 2 of them were wiped out. The east and west were wiped out. And now was left only the north, the king of the north, meaning Europe, and the king of the south, meaning the Muslim nations. So we're going to have a war that's going to take place. It's going to be World War III is going to take place. It's going to involve the whole world. All right, let's go now to the next, Zechariah chapter 14. In Zechariah chapter 14, we'll look at verse 1. For I will gather all nations. Do you see that? All nations, like the United Nations, against Jerusalem to battle. This is called World War III, coming soon. And the city shall be taken, the houses rifled, the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. So there's some people going to be left. Then shall the Lord go forth. This is Jesus Christ coming back to save Israel, to save Jerusalem. Then the Lord shall go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. The Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west, and there shall be a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. Why? Why is that going to happen? Well, we're going to understand what's going to happen to all those people that fought in Jerusalem. Verse 12. Let's look at it. Verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand on their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that there shall be a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hands, every one, on the hand of his neighbor, and the hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor, so they're going to fight each other. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem. All right, that's going to be the end of World War III, the first phase. Jesus Christ wins against all the nations that fought. Now, we have two more phases. We're probably going to have two more programs, and it's all coming from this book, World War III, Coming Soon. And we're going to explain the three phases, the next two phases of World War III that is going to follow this first phase. And why don't you send away for these free booklets? All you have to do is call us, actually. You don't even have to send away. God's Holy Days. Did you know that God has holy days that reveal his plan of salvation? That's true. His holy days reveal his plan of salvation. The second booklet is, What Do You Mean Salvation? A lot of people think they know what it means. Read the booklet. Compare it with the Bible. Anytime you read any kind of booklets, always compare them with the Bible. And for the free booklets, call us at area code 575-650-7359. And we'll send them right out to you. They're absolutely free. We never ask the public for money. So please call us. When this program ends, we'll have somebody waiting to answer the phone. So call right away. And until next time, this is Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God saying goodbye, my friends.
You have been listening to What is Truth with Pastor Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God, located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. For copies of today's lesson or for more information, call area code 575-650-7359. That's 575-650-7359. Join us next week at this same time for another edition of What is Truth? Until next week, we wish you God's richest blessings.